Welcome to the High Value Sales Show of Eversprint.com. I'm Malcolm Louie, the managing member of Eversprint, and today we're speaking with Jesse Cole, the owner of Fan First Entertainment, the company that owns and operates the Savannah Bananas, a collegiate summer baseball league team. Welcome to the call, Jesse.
Yeah, pumped to be with you today.
Jesse, you grew your company's revenue from $556,000 in 2014 to $3.6 million in 2017, a 547% increase. In 2018, you're looking at double-digit growth as well. But before we talk about how you grew your company so fast, can you share briefly what your company does beyond my brief intro and how your company differs from the competition?
Of course, and differing from the competition is everything for us. As you know, I'm in a yellow tuxedo. I own 7 of these yellow tuxedos, and we're all about standing out. So the business that we're in, people from the outside would say we're in the baseball business, but we are 1,000% in the entertainment business. So we started with a small team out in Gastonia, North Carolina, and that was failing, and we turned it into a circus. Literally dancing players, grandma beauty pageants, you name it, we tried it at our ballparks. And so when we launched the team in Savannah, we knew we had to go crazy to create a lot of excitement and attention. And that's what we've done. So basically, it is one of the lowest levels of baseball. But for some reason, we have sold out every single game and have a wait list in the thousands for tickets because it is not a focus, is not baseball. It is the show, the entertainment. It's the experience, and it's how we make people feel when they come to our ballpark. And that's everything for us.
So do you view your competition simply as the other baseball teams in the league, or is there competition beyond that?
I don't think about our competition at all. I believe everyone's competition. Amazon's competition, Disney's competition, the Ritz-Carlton's competition. Everyone that touches a customer is competition. However, what I think a lot of the businesses do is they focus on their competition. I'm aware of what they're doing, but I focus on what we can do to create the best, most magical, amazing experience for our customers and our employees. So we don't make moves based on the competition. That's why just 3-4 years ago when we started, we became the first team ever to do all-you-can-eat tickets. Every single ticket had all-you-can-eat hamburgers, hot dog, chicken sandwiches, soda, water, popcorn, you name it, for $15, including the ticket. There was no one competing that, but we looked at what's the best possible experience for the customer, and people should not be nickel and dime when they come to the ballpark. So, really, I don't look at competition much, but I know we're competing with everyone. Anyone that has a great experience with a brand, that's our competition. We just have to continue to focus on what we do, not what they do.
Right. $15 per ticket, all you can eat. Man, that's a really compelling offer to people, to families especially.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, it's just, you look at what you're doing, the industry you're in, and what are those friction points? What are those things that cause, a challenge for the customer? And we realize not only that, I mean, baseball is to many long, slow, and boring. And so we had to have nonstop entertainment. That's why we have a break-dancing first base coach. That's why we have a 30-piece pep band, a senior citizen dance team called the Banana Nanas. We literally script out the entire experience and how we're having fun and getting fans dancing and singing. But then also, when people come to a ballpark, they get nickel and dimed. You pay $6 for a drink and $8 for a burger, you name it, and all of a sudden you've spent $200. So we eliminated those friction points of baseball being long, slow, and boring, and then also you get a nickel and dimed. And when you start there, again, you don't have to really focus on the competition. You're just focused on getting better each year on creating a better experience.
Right. So in regards to the 3 factors that drove your sales so dramatically over the past few years, and you touched on a lot of points, what in your mind are the 3 most important drivers of your sales growth?
Well, let me start this with saying we failed miserably in the beginning. I mean, 3 years ago, to almost the day, I got a phone call on a Friday, and I was at my college roommate's wedding. It was at 4:45, and we found out from an employee who called us, said we overdrafted the account. We had no money left. And this was 3 years ago. My wife and I drove back down from that wedding. She turned to me. She said, we have no other option. We have to sell our house. And at that point, we sold our dream house. We emptied out our savings account. We went all in on moving down to Savannah, living there full time. We were sleeping on an airbed and trying to make ends meet. We did not know all the answers. We didn't know what we were doing, but we believed that we could create an amazing experience. So when we first started, we sold 1 season ticket in the first 2 months. That's how bad it was. It wasn't until February 25th, 2016, that we created attention by naming the team the Savannah Bananas, but then having an entire plan of how to market that. And, from literally naming our mascot Split and the Banana Nanas to offering former President Obama an internship with us, with our team. I mean, we came up with all these ideas to create that attention. Once people started paying attention to what we're doing, then they realized, wow, this is a pretty good deal. This is fun. This is exciting. And that's when we started growing. So if you want to say the three things that really helped us, we were very clear that we had to create attention, number one, because attention beats marketing 1,000% of the time. Number two, we had to have a sellout strategy. Now, most teams, what they do, you can get a ticket at any point. And when you can get a ticket at any point, you can walk up. There's no demand. So what we did is we had a strategy on how we were going to first sell out our season tickets. Then we were going to sell out opening night. Then we were going to sell out all of our games, our weekend games. And once we got to that strategy, tickets became such a hot item. We had scalpers in front of our ballpark. Literally, tickets are on StubHub right now, which it's crazy. We're college summer baseball. But once we established that, and then the third piece, which I would argue is the most important, is the fans first experience. And we believe so much in this. Our name of our company is Fans First Entertainment. Our mission is Fans First, Entertain Always. And we had to map out the customer journey from when they first buy from us to all the way when they leave. And so, you're in digital marketing. We literally think, what happens when they buy a ticket from us? And so we crafted this ridiculous email and video. Congrats. You just made the best decision of your day. Right now, as you bought your tickets, we ran around the stadium with your tickets. We were celebrating and hoisting them in the air. We dumped Gatorade over each other. Now your tickets are in our vault, and they're ready for you to go bananas with us as they're in maximum security. Some drew after that. Then we would call everyone and give a thank you call. Every single person who would buy a ticket individually would call them thank you. We mapped out this whole experience. When people leave our games, we'll have a s'more station. We'll have our pep band playing music. We'll have our players out there, players thanking the fans and greeting the fans as we're singing and dancing, because I believe the last impression leaves a lasting impression. So when you put those three pieces together, create attention, have a sellout strategy, and love your customers more than you love your product, create a fans first experience. That's how we were able to grow.
Fantastic. Now, can you talk a little bit more about each of these items? Let's start with, first of all, let me recap what you shared with me. The three drivers: create attention, create a sellout strategy, and have a fans-first entertainment philosophy. Can you dive a little bit deeper in how you create attention?
Whatever's normal, do the exact opposite. That is one of my biggest mantras that I believe in, because normal gets normal results. Normal does not get noticed. So what everyone else is doing, go the opposite direction. So for instance, I'm doing this when I released my book, Find Your Yellow Tux. How do you think I launched it? What I did was I did a world book tour, but not around the world. I went to Epcot. And I literally went from country to country with my book. And actually I got thrown out by security because they said I was confusing the guest as one of the characters. Right?
Right.
But that created a story because no one else was doing that. So you think if everyone's doing the same thing, you've got to go the opposite. Like, this is what we've done with the all-you-can-eat tickets. This is why we have dancing players. This is why we did a beer festival, not at night. We did it in the morning. We had a tap of the morning beer fest because you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. And it created attention. So it's very hard to kind of, put this into practical steps. But what I would say is that's why we don't focus on our competition, in the sense that, like, we don't want to do what they're doing. We're going completely different. It's why I'm wearing a yellow tuxedo, because I'm a showman. So that's how you create attention, and you got to be very timely. Obviously, we offered President Obama an internship right after, he was no longer the president. We have a full-time videographer on hand that's producing videos. We do music videos all the time and parodies. Our biggest video is Can't Stop the Peeling, after the Justin Timberlake song, Can't Stop the Feeling. We released that right when the song was at the height of the summer in 2016, and it went viral, hundreds of thousands of views on Facebook. And so, I think you got to be really in tune to jumping on things and knowing you need to go in a different direction. Will people talk about this? And I know it's a little more detail, Malcolm, but I always tell people, think like a reporter. Would a reporter cover you? Whether you have a digital agency, whether you're a realtor, is your story compelling enough that a reporter wants to tell it? And we're constantly thinking about our stories that we're creating every night at the ballpark. What are those stories that you create for your business? Do people care about them? And those are the questions that we ask.
Right. Now, did Obama respond to your offer?
No, but I will tell you this. This is funny. 8 years ago, we did the same thing for President Bush, or more than now 10 years ago. And we didn't hear from him. On April 1st, we announced that he accepted the position. People started buying tickets. It was crazy. We offered him an internship. And finally, during the summer, I heard from his executive assistant who said, sorry, we got the letter. Thank you so much for the request. The president does love baseball, but he can't do it. And I said, he's 3 weeks late. The internship started back in May. And I wouldn't let her get off the phone. I was like, he'd be great. But we actually got a response from his people, but not President Obama. We're still waiting on that one.
All right. Pretty good. Now, you share with us some of the attention things that you've done that it doesn't sound like they worked out well. But, how many things do you try that kind of fell flat and people kind of said, eh?
Almost all of them. I mean, the reality is, we're constantly trying unique things. Like we had Salute to Underwear Night way back in the day where we actually had, if you wore underwear on the outside, you got a free ticket. It was the most unfamily friendly night we've ever done. It was disgusting. It was nasty. We did the world's largest tickets, which literally we thought, hey, whatever's normal, do the exact opposite. Everyone has these small tickets. Let's come up with giant poster-like souvenir item tickets. Our fans hated them. What are they supposed to do with these giant tickets? They don't fit in their pockets. They don't fit in their purse. I mean, but again, it's part of the story. Yeah. So, we've tried to fit 15 people in a porta-john at a game last year. All right. The porta-john almost flipped over. That would have been a terrible story. We're constantly trying new things. So I think people are so afraid to put things out there.
Yep.
That we're just constantly trying new things. All marketing is just testing and learning.
Right.
And I think our biggest thing that we believe in, it's do and then learn. We don't know the answers, but we just can't really try new things. We've released hundreds of videos. Most of them got less than 10,000 views, but they're fun and we're learning from them.
Now, what's the one thing you want to do attention-wise, but you haven't done it yet because of some particular reason? And what was that reason why it's keeping you from doing it?
Well, we haven't done it yet. Yes, and we will do it. And that's going to be dramatically change the game of baseball.
Okay. But, is there other ideas that your team suggests that you just say, oh, we just can't do that because it's too over the top, because it's too expensive, because of any other reason?
If it goes against the brand. So again, what's your decision filter? We talked on this pre-call about the, knowing your avatar of who you're going after. And so many companies don't even know who they're going after. They're trying to be everything to everyone. Well, for us, we have our decision filters very simple. Is it fans first? Does it entertain always? Does it fit that mentality? And so if we would do anything that would represent our brand very badly, which our brand is a fun, little out of the box, we test the envelope, a little bit, that's who we are. So if we do something that's a little almost too risque, we won't do it. But I mean, we came up with Dolce and Banana underwear. And we actually did a whole shoot with literally underwear with a giant banana on the crotch. And we did underwear with a small banana on the crotch, the big banana and the small banana. We had some people that say, oh, the bananas have gone too far. Oh, I'll tell you, we had a lot more people talking about us. So it's hard for me to think about a specific example because we do a lot of things. But I think what you kind of jumped over, the big thing in changing the game of baseball, that's the huge, scary thing. We are actually going to change the game. It's not going to be a 3-hour game. We're going to have a game that's an hour and a half, 2 hours, that's more fast, more exciting, and we're going to make that happen in the next 24 months. That is this huge, scary thing that we're working on doing, and we don't know all the answers, but we're going to start trying things to get there.
Very cool. I've heard people, and even myself, express similar sentiments about golf, right? Golf just takes too long playing 18 holes. But if you can trim it down to 12, and now you can get a game in, instead of 2 or 3 hours, you can do it in maybe an hour and a half or so. So
yes, 100%. I mean, they say all these sports that used to be so popular, the times are changing dramatically. People want things so quick. You talk about the competition, think about the competition. That's probably the biggest thing. When Amazon learned you can one-click ordering, and now soon you're going to be able things are going to show up at your house that you didn't even order because Amazon's going to know that you need them. When all that happens in Uber, conveniently, on your phone, that's the new expectation. And I think when you understand the new expectation in sports or other things that are taking too long, they're not fast, they're not convenient, they're going to die. And so we see that trend, and we're trying to be first to market and make sure that we can get out there before everyone else.
Yeah, and certainly the length of an entertainment is a driving factor as to whether or not people will go for it, right? If it takes too long,
100%.
it just won't work for their schedule.
100%.
So let's talk a little bit more about number 2. You're creating a sellout strategy. So you've been successful with it for sure. First of all, what gave you that idea to create a sellout strategy? And second, now that you sold it, when I've read about how you've had your seasons sold out in advance and you have thousands waiting, what are your thoughts about raising your prices?
We raised our prices for the first time this year. So after 3 years, we got the same price. That $15 ticket is now an $18 ticket. And we haven't had any pushback. People were telling us for a long time we were keeping it too low. But again, that's one of the challenges when you have a fans first philosophy. The raising the prices, was a challenge for us. Where our first thought is, how are we adding more value? So we finally did add prices. And as far as the sellout strategy, it's a really simple concept. People buy, when they feel like there's a huge demand. People want what they can't have. And, think about anybody who buys something early, tickets to a concert or, the Super Bowl as soon as they come out. You buy way in advance or get on a wait list so you have the opportunity to buy it. Yet in sports, it's very rarely done from a season length of looking at it. So we were like, how can we get there? We have to sell out small bites so people know that these tickets aren't easy to come by. And that's been everything for us. I think there's very few teams right now that are getting so many write-ins and so many people joining the wait list in December, and our season doesn't start till June. But it's because they know they can't get tickets. So how do you get there? Whether you're a marketing strategy or realtor, maybe you look at how many clients do you have? If you're unbelievable to 10 or 20 clients, you can charge a premium and give an unbelievable value to them and start creating a wait list for later. Everyone's trying to get more. We actually were very strategic. Our stadium sits 4,000. Most teams, what they'll do is they'll sell another 1,000 standing room only tickets, which just to maximize the revenue they can make one game. But also what they're doing is they're making a worse experience for everyone involved. We knew once we get over that 4,000 number, we have to stop. We didn't get greedy. We knew we could have sold more. We could have sold 10 or 20,000 more tickets last year, which could have resulted in tremendous amount of revenue. But we said no because we're that fans first decision filter. That's not the fans first thing to do.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and if you have a bad experience, you just never come back and you tell your friends about a unpleasant experience you had watching the Savannah Bananas play with 15,000 other people in the stadium.
And people did have bad experiences. So I want to be very clear on this. We had no clue how to do all you can eat in our ballpark. We never to feed 4,000 people all you could eat in really an hour. Because people show up, right before the game. In that 1 hour, we had no clue. The lines were ridiculous, Malcolm. It was the most unfans first thing we could have done. But
right.
we knew the long game. And the big picture was if we could figure this out and service people faster, it'll be a better experience. They'll get a wristband. They can get a burger when they want. Their kids can get a drink or soda. They can get a cookie when they want or popcorn. We knew that was the answer. But instead of the fear of, that won't work at our stadium, we tried it and we bit the bullet for a while. It took us weeks before that first season, before we started figuring out. And now all of our lines are less than 10 minutes. And we're solid on that. So, it's just, I think people are afraid to try things out because they think, it can't be done or it won't work. You have to be able to deal with the challenges to get to where you're trying to go to.
Yeah. So with the $15 ticket, all you can eat, the numbers still work out. At the end of the day, you're still turning a profit.
We've been very fortunate. Now, my wife and I, obviously we took on a tremendous amount of debt to come here. But yeah, after we're in a great spot in a great space, and the team is substantially profitable. But we are putting that money, reinvesting back into the business and the stadium. We've put a lot of money into the stadium. It's a 1926 ballpark. So imagine one of the oldest stadiums in the country. It needs a little work. Let's just say that.
Yeah, just the thought of having an all-you-can-eat ticket for $15. The first thought that would cross my mind, having a finance background myself, is it going to work numbers wise, right? What if the people are loading up on the food, and at the end of the day, I'm going to have wastage to contend with as well. I definitely don't want to run out of food because that's going to be a real bad experience. Yeah,
But you learn it, so that's the thing. Oh yeah, we probably lost money the first few games. We had no idea. But you think about it. Again, going into the details, not too much. How many burgers, hot dogs, and chicken sandwiches could someone eat at a ball game?
Yeah, not that many, but practically speaking, it wouldn't surprise me if my kid took one of each and had 3 bites and just threw out the rest.
And we'll be okay.
Yeah.
So and we'll be okay. I mean, obviously we have such good, buying power because, we're going through 10,000 pieces of meat every single game.
Yeah.
So, that helps get our costs down and still serve a very quality product. So
right.
We didn't know how the number was going to work out. We had no idea because no one was doing it.
Yeah.
We didn't know what the cost was going to be, but we learned and now we get better. I mean, our waste is minimal and we'll have, at the end of a game, we'll have less than, most games, less than 50 pieces of meat left over, which is just unbelievable for feeding 4,000 people.
50. 50
pieces of meat left.
Wow, you guys got it nailed down to a science.
Well, we're still getting there. There's still things that we can do better. But yeah, this is 3 years of doing it. So we've done it over 100 times.
Right.
If we can't figure something out over 100 times, then we got some serious problems.
Right. So, just really quickly, what are the things that you have to figure out to serve all you can eat food to 4,000 people? I mean, what if, before you had huge long lines, now you have a line that's less than 10 minutes. I mean, I assume you have a lot of food that's pre-made and always being continuously made. Maybe you reduce options, have people just come up and grab it themselves.
It's a science now because it's like how many, we know how many people are going to eat when we open the gates at 5:30. We know how many people are going to eat at 6 because remember, we have the same amount of tickets sold for every game because every game's sold out. So we have an idea of what that's going to look like. It's just having a certain amount of food prepared at 5:30 when the gates open and then cooking through that. We know by 8 o'clock, it's almost slowed down. So we shut down a few stations and we start, compromise, making into one station. So it's just our director of operations knows it better than anything. And I think that's a really important lesson too. I'm the owner and I knew where we wanted to get to, but you have to empower your people to learn themselves and take ownership in it. And I don't know all the details. My goal is to know, where we're going and why we're doing it. And then make sure our team knows the what and the how. And that's what they've been able to learn, the details. And I know it's they're doing an unbelievable job. I can't give enough credit to our director of operations who for 3 years, who started as an intern and learned it and now is leading the efforts to take care of, 4,000 people every single night.
Yeah. And I think the key to what really makes it work, right, is because you know how many people are coming every single night. That helps tremendously. Yes,
and that goes into then the sellout mentality. So once you get that, here's a great thing too, Malcolm. Sports teams don't think about this. What about rain? If all of a sudden they're planning a big night and it rains, no one shows up. Yep. However, what we've set the precedent is if it rains, we're going to put on a huge show at our stadium and we're going to feed you. So we've had numerous games that we haven't even thrown a pitch, but we've had thousands of people show up and we'll have the band playing. The players will be up in the stands. We'll be throwing bananas, pieing people, doing giveaways, doing dances in the grandstand. And we put on a show and they eat for free. So we are able to still feed all those people, take care of them, give them a great experience, a fans first experience without throwing a pitch. And still the food is consumed.
Right, because they're not really going there just to watch the game. They're going there for a nice night out with the family and having a good time.
100%. And then what we do on top of that, we add another game to the schedule, and they get to all come back again for free.
Ah, fantastic.
So it's so over the top in the experience because we don't want people ever to leave our ballpark let down. And most teams, if it rains, they're let down, or maybe people won't even show up because it's already raining, and it's just a disaster. We're trying to go all the way above and beyond. Again, I'm just trying to say this is, in a sense, we're still learning, and I want to make sure it's in the process, but that's what we're looking to do.
Right. Okay. And number 3, your fans first philosophy, which is also the name of your company as well. When you do the fans first thing, sometimes when you do fans first, it's very easy to go too extreme and things don't work out from a numbers perspective. How do you draw the line from a numbers perspective?
What do you mean exactly?
Like say, for example, you did the all you can eat ticket, right? Mm-hmm. And you didn't know that it wasn't going to work, but you just did it and to see if it would work. Now, let's say you went a little bit further out and said you're going to give everyone a free gift of some sort, free baseball glove or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And clearly you're going to, it's going to put you in a loss column for that. Right? Mm-hmm. How do you evaluate these sort of ideas and say, yeah, this makes economic sense. Let's do it. Yes, we'll lose money at the beginning, but we'll make it back in the back end. What are your filters to decide if something really makes sense? Yes, it's fans first, but it doesn't make sense economically.
So I started back in Gastonia, as I mentioned, 12 years ago, and there was $268 in the bank account my first day. I couldn't pay myself. I was the general manager. At that point, I had to learn how to bootstrap, how to trade with different companies to get things, how to come up with ideas to get things for free or very little cost. And so we still embody that. I think a lot of times for companies, the biggest thing that can cause problems is having too much money. As crazy as that sounds, companies that get tons of investment, they'll just use it on anything. You can solve your problems by paying for it, as opposed to learning how to solve them in a unique, innovative way. So to give you an example, one of the best fans first things that people talk about every game is that our players, in the middle of the game, they come out of the dugout, they're holding roses, and they go into the crowd, and they get down to a knee and deliver a rose to a little girl, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, in the middle of the game. Now, all those roses are traded for free. Every one of them. We haven't paid for a rose. It's just traded. We give a shout out to the florist that helps us. We try to think of all those different things. The band was volunteers for us the first couple of years. Our breakdancing first base coach was the first year he was the mascot too, and he played another character. He played 3 characters doing all that in one game. We were just, how can we figure it out and create a fans first experience without spending money? That's how we go to it first. And to give an example, we make a thank you call to everyone who buys tickets, as I mentioned that. That doesn't cost money. That's just putting emphasis and time onto it. Right. So we first think, all right, we have idea paloozas where we actually come up with ideas on how to do a better fan experience. Every day I write down 10 ideas in my journal, every day. And a lot of them I'm like, how can we do this without spending money? And some will cost money. Like when people come to our games, we have parking penguins. Literally people dressed up in penguin costumes parking your car. It doesn't make any sense, except I think it's hilarious that you're getting parked by a penguin. But this year, what I'm committing to is I want Freezy Pops in coolers next to the penguins. So when little kids come by, they can give a Freezy Pop to them as they're going into the ballpark. Now, I have no idea how much that'll cost. But I'm thinking maybe we could go to a grocery store and make a trade and get it for free. Right. So that's the framework that we think about. I want to, in the middle of the games this year, I want a mobile car wash company to wash a couple of the dirty cars while they're in the ballpark. And when they go out to see their car, it's completely clean, completely immaculate. Now, maybe there's a way I can trade with the mobile car wash. So that's how we think about it. And I hope that kind of explains our mindset.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's just, I come from a financial background, so where I look at all the numbers and base a lot of decisions quantitatively, and hearing how you're going about doing your promotions, your ways of attracting attention, a little bit different from how I personally would do it.
Well, think about it this way. We all have something to offer someone. We all have skills and asset, and I think, like, even your answer, you come from a financial background or digital marketing. What is something that you would want to deliver a better experience for your customers? Could you offer your expertise, your time, something that you've learned, and get that for free? Very few people think in the trade barter system, but we all have something to offer. I mean, I think about accountants. Like, could accountants help us with this if we do this for them? So I think many companies, they're just so used to spending money for things, but we all have something to offer. I think we all need to look at that first before saying this will cost X amount of dollars.
Right. Got it. Now, you talked a little bit about some of the changes that you have in mind going forward in 2019. You talked about a shorter game, and I can see the advantages of that. It just makes it easier for people to schedule and participate. What other plans can you share with us for 2019?
Now, that is not for 2019. We are still in contract with the league that we were in for 2 more seasons. But,
okay.
So I will say, when you reach a ceiling, it is the best opportunity for innovation. And we reached a ceiling. We can't sell any more tickets to the short season. We have very limited opportunities to grow. And we care so much about our staff and our people. Those are our true biggest fans. Those are the people that we really go all fans first with. If we can't grow and offer them opportunities to grow with us, then what's the point? And so while we'll look in the next 24 months to go to something new, it's going to be the opportunity to potentially own something, to own a new sport, a new way of playing. And again, it's the same mindset that we looked at with the all-you-can-eat tickets and the fans first experience. Okay. Our fans are leaving in the 6th or 7th inning. Even though we are entertaining like crazy, they're leaving in the 6th or 7th inning. That is a friction point. I want our fans. How many times, Malcolm, have you left a great movie in the middle of the movie?
A great movie in the middle of a movie? Rarely. I can't remember ever doing that, unless I had some pressing engagement and I knew in advance that I had to go.
Yeah, or a great concert or a comedian. People don't leave those in the middle.
Yeah.
Yet baseball games, people leave early.
Yep.
If that doesn't say something's wrong with the sport as a whole, I don't know what does.
Yep.
So that's the biggest friction point that we could find. So how do we make it faster and even more entertaining so people won't leave and they can't leave? And they're like, I can't miss this. And that's our starting point. So we're reverse engineering from there. And I think that's where every business and entrepreneur should start. What is that big problem, and reverse engineer from that and go backwards to solve that problem.
Right. And the solution isn't simply having games that last only 6 innings.
No, you got to get creative. I mean, obviously, if you're trying to dive into what we're doing, it's you can't just have a regular 6-inning baseball game because still there's not enough fun and excitement going on.
Right.
And there's only a play in baseball, a ball put into play every 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So literally every 10 minutes, you're seeing 2 actual plays.
Yeah. There's
a problem there. So that's what we're working on.
Right now, I'm looking forward to hearing what solutions you try out and find out which ones work.
I'm sure we'll fail a lot in the beginning, just like we did here, but it'll be worth it. It'll be a great story, I'm sure.
Yeah. So you're saying that then with your current Savannah Bananas team, because you have contractual obligations to the league, you obviously can't really change the rules of the game itself while you're still in this particular league. How can you grow this current business further? I mean, you would have to sell other things on top of what you're currently offering, right?
We're playing the long game. And I think, this is important to think about. We're all in your show and everyone is obsessed with growth. And I think it drives us. And growing is one of our fans first way core beliefs. But how many years was Amazon not profitable? I've heard, literally they weren't making money, but they were playing the long game and now they are killing it and they're dominating. Mm-hmm. So we are actually okay without huge growth the next 2 years, only if we are setting ourselves up to be unbelievably successful in the future years. So what I mean by that is that we are looking, how can we test as many things that we need to the next few years, whether that's streaming and digital, whether that's new ways to grow our fan base without actually having them come to games, because obviously there won't be tickets for them to come to games. But so we're trying to build this huge kind of platform that we have, get known more, get out in the world, make it so when we do have our launch, we're ready to have that, expedited fast growth. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Although it's a bit vague, right, in terms of what ideas you have cooking in the pot here.
To be clear, so we are testing our streaming. We're testing how we're doing our digital marketing in the sense of building our priority list. So we're looking at growing our priority list dramatically. So we are looking at selling our season out even earlier. So then that creates the demand even more for when we add games. So again, just being very clear, like there's no more games we have added to the schedule. Right. You can't in this league. So we have to be able to play the long game and say, how do we get our bigger fan base ready, waiting, and able and excited? So when we do add the more games, the bigger opportunity they can jump on.
Right. I see what you're doing. Okay, good. So what do you see as your biggest challenges in the near term?
Baseball. It's still, I think, the relevance of baseball. No matter how much we tell people we're about the show, we're about the circus, we're about the entertainment, we're still a baseball team. And there's still people that said, I just don't like baseball. It's too long. I just don't want to go. Baseball will always be the challenge until we change the perception of what baseball is. So that's the biggest thing. And then, novelty. You come out the first year, we have all these crazy new things we're doing, and we're growing in excitement, and the banana nanas and our players are doing dances, and all of a sudden every year we have to have new things to innovate. We have to develop new characters at our ballpark that, we're thinking of like Disney. Disney would pump out new movies, new characters, new rides, new things at their theme parks. We're the same thing. Every year we have to add something new. So, I have crazy ideas like, the Mananas, a man cheerleading team, as these different, having Batman instead of a Batboy. We actually have an adult dressed up as Batman who gets the bats in between pitches. We think about all these new characters that we can add to our stadium that will create the excitement. So that's what we're working on. And right. I know I can tell I'm throwing you off because it's like, well, how are you not going to have huge growth this next year? But I'll tell you, we'll get there, Malcolm. It's just at a point of we're gonna get ready and prime everything for when we do that.
Yeah. How about challenges on the marketing front?
Oh, geez. Well, then obviously everyone's becoming more tuned into social, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Everyone's realizing the importance of that. So everyone's playing the game, where it was very easy on Facebook for us to post a video a couple of years ago and get 10, 20, 30, 50,000 views. That's not happening anymore because it's noisy out there. So what we are doing is trying to own the content. So for instance, next week, we're going to start filming a weekly video show called Bananas Unpeeled and start really developing characters within our team, within our staff that we are just putting out content without asking for any ROI. And I think, again, that goes into the long game. Obviously, I look up to Gary Vaynerchuk. I was able to spend some time with him and his team back in December. They played the long game. Are you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk?
Who isn't?
Yeah, sorry, good. Obviously, he played the long game. Wine Library, where he started doing one show with nobody watching. That's the same thing to build the brand. And so that's what we're going to be doing for marketing, is start putting out a lot more original content and consistently putting it out even with nobody watching. And obviously that happens in the podcast world. People are doing that, but it's noisy. So what are you making sure that it stands out? We know our unique thing is our players. Most sports teams, they don't have their players involved in the show. Our players, they dance. They're in the music videos. They're in parodies. Our players are a big part of the show. We can utilize them and team with them to build more shows and more characters. So that's what we're playing with from a marketing sense.
Okay. Now, I know that you guys are sold out. So in one sense, you don't need to use marketing to generate more demand, right? Because you got nothing to sell other than putting people on the waiting list. But we
do have things to sell. I just want to be clear. Like, the season's not sold out yet. So like the way it works is we sold out our season like a week or two into the season last year. Okay. So there's over 100,000 tickets that have to be sold to sell out a season. So we are 60-70% of the way there. We still have some tickets that need to be sold. So we're still pushing every day.
Okay. Now your season passes are the ones that are sold out, right?
Yeah, the season passes, the 10-game plans, the 5-game plans are about to be sold out. Yeah, and then there's a waiting list for all those as far as getting on that. The stadium clubs, there's a waiting list for our decks. There's a waiting list for a lot of the different parts of our stadium that people can't get tickets to.
But then there are some tickets that are a la carte that one can buy right before a game.
No. So basically what we'll do in February, we'll unveil the priority list to get chance to get single game tickets. And then what will happen, and probably that'll come out in April, and people have the opportunity to get, for the few games that remain, it might be 6 games, it might be 5 games, they can get tickets to those. But then those won't be available. Basically before the season, there won't be any tickets available.
Right. Okay. So the packages are pretty much sold out, and then in individual games, you have a waiting list, a priority list. And then
there's groups. Groups is big too. So people can still get group tickets right now. Companies that want to bring their tickets for certain games. Like I think most of the weekends are sold out. There's still certain games that people can buy at this point. Now we're talking in early January. So again, that changes every month. Games get to disappear.
Right. Okay. So I fired my spy tools to take a little bit to have a peek at what the tools are showing that you're doing on the web. And I'm not seeing any pay-per-click ads running for you right now. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, like SEO?
No, literally running Google AdWords, showing the Savannah banana ads, buy a ticket, all you can eat, ticket for $15. I'm not seeing any paid Google AdWords running right now.
Nope.
What's your take on that? Just not a channel that you need to use?
No, obviously there's success in all channels, and I'm sure as a digital marketer, I'm sure you suggest that to numerous of your clients, and I think there's always opportunities. We haven't played with that yet. We are doing most of ours based on our internal database that we've grown, and then also using Facebook and social is where we've been spending a lot of our money.
Okay. Do you do much email marketing?
Yes, email marketing has been a big tool for us.
Okay, great. How do you initially acquire the people to add to your database? Are these just people who bought your tickets and you give them the opportunity to sign up, or they're buying it online, hence they have to give you their contact information, and hence that's how you're building your database?
Yeah, we've basically grown from, it's in now 3 years, when we had zero database when we started. So we literally, the former team there was professional baseball here for 90 years. And they just took everything. They cut the phone lines. They cut the internet lines. They left us with nothing. So we started with a database of zero. So what we started to do, we had a sales team reaching out, obviously developing relationships. We started selling tickets. We started developing obviously e-newsletter, join, and it's grown to thousands and thousands. And every year it's growing based on qualified prospects that are reaching, that are opting in, as opposed to us opting in people.
Right. Okay, good. It sounds like you're in a kind of enviable position in that you have more people wanting to buy your tickets than are available. So sounds like you could do very little marketing if you wanted to and still sell out.
Well, it's attention. So we are doing lots of it. It's about how we're creating attention. That's why we're doing all these shows and videos and try to make the brand cool. And then people opt in. That's why I look at there's between attention and marketing. They go hand in hand, but we're focusing on building the brand intention, and people are coming to us. Now, could we do a lot of salesy things? But people don't want to be sold. They want to buy. So we're trying to be very strategic. Even when we announce our tickets, where it's more of an update. Hey, you're letting everyone know we are 90% sold out of our 5-game plans. That's where we are. Look forward to having you sign. It's not like you need to buy this now or buy this. We're very cognizant of that because we don't want to hurt the brand and make it uncool.
You're right. Now, for the 5-game plan, the games are pre-selected, or the people can buy a 5-game and then they pick their games?
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't allow people to pick because those won't be available. So we had to select. So we've selected 3 different 5-game plans. The first 2 already sold out. I think there's a handful left for the third one that we select those 5 games for them. And there are 5 biggest games. We'll try to throw one fireworks game in there. We'll try to throw a weekend or a Thursday night. So it is the best. It's the best opportunity for what we call just a regular fan, someone that wants to come with their family or their friends.
Right. Okay. 3 last questions for you,
Sure.
Jesse.
Yeah.
Say someone's cruising down a freeway, driving 70, 75 miles per hour. They see a Savannah Bananas billboard on the side. They're only going to see it for 5-10 seconds or so. What's the message that's going to be on that billboard?
We make baseball fun.
We make baseball fun. That's awesome. Okay. And the 2 last questions. Who are your ideal customers, and what's the best way for them to contact you or your team?
The question
our team being, what's the best way for them to get more information on how to buy a ticket?
Yeah. It's funny, as we talked about this earlier before the avatar, it is interesting for us because I've always tried to say, here are our ideal customers. But if you come to our ballpark, remember Dan Miller, the author of 48 Days to Work You Love, he came to one of our last games 2 years ago, and he wrote in the foreword of my book, he goes, I've never seen such a cross-section of people from all different ways of life. And it was really interesting when I thought about that. I think fun is a universal thing that people want. It attracts from 2-year-olds to 90-year-olds. And I love to say that, hey, our prime demographic is young families or young professionals. But the reality is we're just providing fun. And you come to our ballpark, you'll see all ways of life. And Malcolm, I'd love to get specific with it. But the reality is we just keep putting out hopefully fun content, making our games fun. And we're attracting people that want that in their life.
Sure. And for those people who want fun, what's the best way for them to get some fun from the Savannah Bananas?
We post things on Facebook every day, on Instagram. And then me personally, Jesse Cole, the Yellow Tux guy, I post every single day on LinkedIn, Facebook, and just ideas on how to stand out, how to be different, how to create a fans first experience. And I learned a great lesson when I was 25 years old and I was at a crossroads figuring out what I wanted to do. And I reached out to Mark Cuban. And Mark Cuban wrote back within 2 hours. And I was blown away by this. Since that day, anyone that's, reached out to me that sends a note on LinkedIn or Facebook, I make sure I reply because I'll never forget how much that meant to me. And if I can help in any way, I definitely reach out. I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, well, you replied to my message as well. And I definitely appreciate that.
That's definitely.
So would you like to share, your Facebook page, your website so people can find you more easily?
Really, if you search Jesse Cole, Yellow Tux, or Savannah Bananas, there's plenty of things for them to find and for anyone to find. And
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to find us out there. There's not many Yellow Tux guys out there, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Would you like to also share the name of your book that you recently published that has 5-star reviews across the board?
Sure. Find Your Yellow Tux, How to Be Successful by Standing Out. And share the journey of what we're doing to create our experience and what you can do individually to not have to live the 9 to 5, to not put out fires every day, and really to live life with passion. And I've been blown away by the response, and it's really meant a lot hearing from people from all over the world.
Yeah, it looks like you really struck a chord with people with your book.
Yeah, I was very fortunate again, and you need a lot of great people to help you. And I had a great team at Scribe help me with the book, and my publisher was outstanding. So very fortunate, but thank you for the platform to share.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today, Jesse, and sharing how you accelerated your company's high-value sales.
Thank you so much. Glad to be with you, Malcolm.
We've been speaking with Jesse Cole, the owner of Fans First Entertainment, about his company's rapid growth. For interviews with other fast-growing, high-value sales companies, or to learn how we can accelerate your firm's high-value sales through automation, visit eversprint.com.